All right, guys. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to go ahead and we'll get started. I'm sure we'll have some people be adding in, as we go along. But thank y'all, so much for just taking some time, just to come in this way. The great thing is we are going to take this, uh, and we're going to post it to our Facebook, site. So anything that we're, just dealing with, that we'll be able to, have that out there for people just to see and just to connect in with. So as everybody's just kind of coming in and still just being a part of it, I'm excited about this. I'm excited to use this platform because I want to respect your time as much as possible. And if y'all have, I know you have busy schedules, but and some of y'all are probably playing computer games while we hang out. I get it, but at least I want this to be a great time to just speak into that, but also to have just some interaction. What a valuable tool that we have, just technology like this where we can interact like this. This is really neat, and so excited to do this in this way. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to kick off first with just walking through, just remembering our whys, our strategy, and our what. And I know a lot of us, we have it all down, or maybe we think, but it's always good just to be reminded of that. From that, we're going to open up just some Q&A and just kind of see, what are some things that we could just work on together and just walk through some things together. And that's what I want this to be. So I'm going to be sharing my screen. We're going to go here. All right. So all right. So can everybody see that on their screen? Are y'all all right to see the Prezi there?
Yeah.
All right, great. So what I want to do is I just want to just kind of reflect on, why and what we're doing here. And just remember, this is always just good. I just, Simon Sinek has that book that's out, Sinek, whatever his name is, Start with Why. And I just think it's so important just to always remember why we're doing what we're doing. And so whenever we, kick off here and we're going, let's see if I can get this thing to go. There we go. So, why are we doing small groups? Well, remember, small groups are one of the most effective ways for us to live out the Great Commission, right? Go therefore in all the nations, making disciples, baptizing, teaching them about the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, all those things. But also it gives us a great opportunity to live out our mission individually and collectively, as we're called to, guide people into lives of gospel transformation. So our mission at New Vision comes in through the Great Commission. It's not that we start with our mission; we start with God's mission, the Great Commission. And that's a part of what you're doing as a group leader is you are a part of living out the Great Commission. And we have found small groups is one of the most effective ways to do that. And how we're fulfilling our mission, our contextual Great Commission here of guiding people into lives of gospel transformation. So always understand that's the why, big thing, make disciples. If you as a group, you make disciples, that's a win all day long. Okay. Does that make sense? And that's what we want to constantly think about, how we're making disciples. Well, what does that look like from there? Well, we have a strategy. And the reality is we have a discipleship process that's in place here at New Vision. And, it's worship, connect, serve, go. But I want you to see how that plays into our small groups. Worship. Small groups exist to love God. To love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Whenever we're experiencing worship, that's what we're doing. But also it's a place of connect. So we exist to build relationships, build community, build fellowship with one another. But also small groups is a great place. It exists for accountability and prayer. So that's why, we take roll. That's why that we are, reaching out to each other in prayer and saying, hey, I'm praying for you. What's the way that I can pray for you? All those things. But then go. Small groups exist to love others as we share the gospel. Love thy neighbor as thyself. We're living that lifestyle of evangelism, and we're going and we're sharing the good news of Christ. So you might say, well, man, we got to have this all elaborate strategy out there. The reality is we don't. We already have the strategy set here at New Vision of worship, connect, serve, and go. And we're just seeing how that process works within small groups. Does that make sense? Does everybody kind of understand? Well, then let's get into the what, because we want to know what do I need to be doing as a small group? What are some of the main things? The way that we kind of come about with that is we have within our church measures that tell us when we are successful. So what do New Vision small groups do? And I'm sorry if it's a little small, but I want you to think back. These are the same questions that we ask of ourselves individually. So we ask, who is far from God but close to me? So we make connections. That's why we're making those connections, is that we're recognizing who's far from God but close to me. We reinforce biblical discipleship. So we're asking the question, when am I turning the pages? You see, that's a question that's good for us individually, but also as a group. See, now we're not just a group that just meets to be a group in the community. Instead, and I love this, we talked about this at a conference this past weekend of how we're taking the circles of our life that are naturally exist. We want to take the Bible and put it right there in the smack dab middle of it. So you think about the circles that you have, whether through work, whether through networks, whether it's through ball games, anything like that. And we want to take the Bible and we want to put that in the middle of it and say, when are we turning the pages together? We value prayer. So we say, where's prayer leading me individually, but also as a group? We share in ministry. So we're asking that question, who are my refrigerator friends? Who are the people that are surrounding my life that I'm ministering to? We find ways to serve. Is my yes on the table? And then we live to invest. How am I leveraging earthly resources for eternal transformation? The reality is, I mean, we already have the metrics of success in place. We already have it sitting there ready to go. We just got to go and we just got to do it. And that's what it really comes down to. And so you might say, well, man, I need to get caught up in here, caught up over here, whatever that is. Guys, let's just stay right here in these basics of what does a New Vision small group do. Now, let me ask you, you're looking there at the screen, you're seeing there of connections, discipleship, prayer, ministry, serve, invest. Let's just kind of have a time of just feedback here. What may be an area that your group excels in right now? If you're looking down through that, what New Vision small groups do, what would you say is an area right there that you see that your group is really growing in right now? This is open for anybody.
Well, our group grows in our prayer life and in serving.
Okay, great. So you're looking at the way that you guys pray for one another. You're seeing that's a great area for y'all, and y'all are looking at, you're saying, man, our yes seems to be on the table right now. Is that right, Carol?
That's correct. Yes.
Great. All right, somebody else. What may be an area that you're seeing that your group is just really just seems like they're knocking it out of the park?
So this is Tom. I mean, our group is relatively new and kind of, I'll say, unstable, just because, you know, we'll get some of the visitors and they might just come one or two times and move on. But I will say that, you know, those who have stuck around, it's really because of the connections.
Yeah.
They really feel like that. I mean, it's very open. There's good dialogue and discussion. we're not to the point where we've done too much outside of the group.
Right.
Our last meeting, they've been talking a lot more about just adding more accountability and what that might look like for one another.
Man, that's great. That's great, Tom, because that's, especially being in that Wednesday night, sometimes I could just feel, we got to move beyond that surface level, in so many different ways. So that's really good. That's really good. Miss Carol, let me just ask you, in your experience, especially when it comes to prayer, what have been some ways that you've seen your group maybe communicate those prayer requests to one another and kind of stayed in touch with one another on that?
Well, we start out with our as we close our meetings, we finish up our prayer list that someone takes and types up, so that we have that as our initial go-to for our daily prayer for one another. Yeah. And then as situations arise through the week, we use the messaging app and we notify the group to add this to their prayer list.
Great.
Continue on praying for those people.
Great. And Tom, let me just ask you, whenever you're kind of thinking through, how do you kind of see your group moving to that accountability? What may be some things that you're thinking of that are going to help your group grow in accountability with one another?
I still think that we need to do more together outside of the Wednesday night. So, we've talked about getting together for lunch, especially, some of the guys. We tend to work in a very similar area or location of town. So to be able to make that, extra effort. I'm actually coming upon some time off here, some extended time away from the office. So that too will be able to allow me just to kind of, have that, check-in time and kind of dedicate that a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I was really impressed with them just talking about, the accountability and the need for people just to check in.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly. Because, that's so key of where we are as a church body, and to know that, groups are one of the ways, and I think the most effective way, that we hold each other accountable to be here, to be here among the body of believers. And so, especially whenever emergencies arise or anything like that, there's some great opportunities that we have to, whenever we're in accountability with one another, that we're helping people in those ways, and we're helping them to grow in that. So, so great thoughts, really, really good things. All right, so let me just ask this. We've talked about the good part, okay? So what would be one area that you kind of see, open for anybody here, what would be one area that you see is a step that maybe you guys are struggling at that you need to grow in?
I would think half our group is super consistent at participating and coming and joining on a weekly basis. The other half is intermittent and trying to draw them in to a consistent both walk with God and a consistent fellowship with each other.
Yeah.
We've started doing extracurricular activities, I would call them. Like we did the greenhouse last weekend, I think, or 2 weekends ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we had about half the group show, which was fantastic for the first time. And we do our dinners and get-togethers and birthday parties and all that jazz offsite all the time. But finding more ways to consistently engage, I think, is what I'm working on right now with the group, and my wife is as well. I will say the girls are far more active than the guys. My wife does her little text group, and she does what's that app called? Marco Polo.
Oh yeah.
And so she's obsessed with it. Like every morning that she does a little devotional with all the girls.
Awesome.
And they read, I think they're doing their Proverbs right now, and she's reading one chapter. Each girl takes a turn. So they're really engaged. the guys, it's just hard to find a way to get them all involved consistently, mainly because half of them have night shifts.
Yeah.
One guy is a helicopter pilot, and so he's unavailable, half the time or 2/3 of the time because he's sleeping the other half. So that's been difficult, trying to find the balance of all that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. One of the things that we're, constantly thinking about too is, how do we, because sometimes we have, a larger group, or, maybe we're not, we have new people that are coming in, or even within those existing people, how can we, build relationships, quality relationships, right? And that is, that is a struggle, but I think it is good to, you're exactly right, Jeremy, on finding those ways in which you can get the group down even into smaller groups, and ways that people are going to build those relationships. And so even if you're divided, you guys are looking at between men and women having those opportunities to try and connect, and guys, I know we're always going to be tougher on that, but it is at least a step, just to kind of say, even, hey, let's not just do life in the room and that's it, and I get that's the big struggle, but it makes such a huge impact, and it'll raise your accountability with one another, your ministry with one another, when you are spending some time together, even just outside of the group setting. You don't want to wear people out, but you do want to build those stronger relationships in that way. So that's great that y'all are thinking in that. All right. Look, one more person, if you don't mind. Where do you kind of see an area that your group is maybe just having a struggle with, or maybe just needing to grow in right now?
Well, I can speak up for one item. We're pretty good on discipleship, but we could be better. Mm-hmm. Some of the women are constantly bringing new people to the meetings,
right,
to try and interest them. And like, I think it was Tom who said they may not stay but a meeting or two and then move on, depending upon. We've had some young people join our group or come to the group to evaluate it, and we're just not the right mix for them because we're all basically in a retirement mode.
Right.
There's a few that still work.
Right.
But it's consistently the same people that are bringing new people in that, thank you, that sort of stick.
Right.
And we need to spread that across and find a way to let some of the other women feel more comfortable in approaching.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. I think that just shows a great giftedness when you have people that are, they're using their influence to bring people to a group. What a powerful thing to think about. And so I think that's great, but it's good as well to see that those connections are coming. And I think you're right. Thinking through that discipleship process of how do we get them connected into a next step, and in thinking through what may be the best place for them. And I appreciate that, Ms. Carol, because I know sometimes we can have people that are coming in, and we want our groups to be welcoming as possible. In fact, I even heard of a church, and this is something that we're even thinking about, which is great, is that every group at this one church has a what they call a coffee couple. It's not the leaders, it's another couple or another person, a coffee person or coffee couple. And what they do is anytime that somebody is planning to come to their group, before they come to the group, they'll take this couple out to eat, or out for coffee. And what I was like, man, that's a great idea to just help introduce people to the group. Whenever somebody's coming in, that they know at least one person in the group. And I know context, that could be a little difficult, in that, but just to stop and think about, man, that may be the better thing, with your person that's bringing somebody all the time. Man, they could be the coffee person for you guys. They could be the one that really connects, new people and helps them to find their best fit for the group. So that's great. That's good. I appreciate that. Well, here's a couple of quick things I want to just kind of, look at just a little bit more. If I can get this thing to, we'll eventually get it. There we go. I want to show you just a couple of quick upcoming things that I think are great opportunities for us as group leaders, and just ways, we want to look at what can my small group do? Well, we want to be having our yes on the table, and then we want to also be leading people about earthly resources for gospel transformation. And guys, there's just some great ways to just do that. Easter is coming up. And let me just say that we've got some great opportunities for you as a group to get together and to serve at Easter. And so that's what I want to encourage y'all to do as group leaders, and say, hey, here's a time. It's an off time. Maybe it's a Saturday night. Maybe it's the Thursday night service, whatever those opportunities are. Y'all say as a group, hey, let's go serve. And then after the service, let's go out to eat, or let's find a way that we can just gather up, make it a fellowship and a serving opportunity together. But guys, listen, we're going to have over 7,000 people that are going to be going through our campus, coming to our campus, hearing the gospel. And so that is such a great opportunity for you as a group to just come along and say, how can we help? How can we jump in? How can we serve? And so I know there's going to be help in preschool, children, all that area, first impressions. We want to get people parked, and we want the only thing to be offensive on the campus is to be the gospel. So Abby Wilson and Tammy Freeman are leading that charge. Of course, Abby is our new director of guest services, and she's knocking it out of the park. But guys, it's going to be such a big weekend. So I want to encourage you guys, please plan to get your group involved. Find a time that you guys can serve together and make that something fun for y'all. Also, we've got a date night coming up, April the 26th. You don't want to miss out on that. I mean, $5 a kid, childcare, you just can't beat that, okay? So we want you to make sure letting your groups, letting people know, husbands, wives, anybody that you know that they just need a night. I think there's even a mother right now that her husband is deployed, but she's going to come and take, and be a part of date night because she's like, man, I just need a few hours to myself. I get it. Okay. So if y'all know some people that are like that, please do that. And let me just say the last thing here, guys, we got some big announcements that are coming up that we are praying through, that we are thinking through, that we believe is going to take our group ministry to a next level. And so I don't want to give them away or anything right now. I'm so excited about them. But guys, I just want to tell you, we're going to be a part of something together. And it's going to be just something fun. It's going to be something exciting. And we're just going to see how God's just going to move. So I just want to say, thank y'all. Thank you for what you do as leaders. I just want to open up this time right now because I really want this to be a part of whenever we have our Zoom meetings, as we just keep on using this. And let me just kind of first ask, we're going to do some questions, just kind of say, hey, here's an issue I have going on in my group. What do y'all kind of suggest that we do? We're going to have that. But I also just want to hear some feedback. Has this been profitable for you? Has this been a great way to just connect for you as a meeting time? Yeah, I mean, everybody's kind of.
It always is. Yeah, this is always convenient.
Okay, great. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear the feedback on that. Well, let me just ask as well, what are maybe just some major issues or any kind of thing right now that you just kind of see that's maybe impacting your group that you just really need help with? that we can talk about here. Everybody's got the perfect group, right?
I think the only thing we're struggling with is that we've extended our, I guess, our serving commitment across a wider base this year, and we're now struggling to support our teachers come the beginning of school year next year. Typically, we have a company donate some of the needs that the teachers have so that we are able to supply them in the beginning of school. And this year we're struggling because we don't have a company yet that has accepted our plea for help. And so we have a kitty that we put money in every week. We all share $1 to the kitty. And
Right.
so we're up to about $300, and we know $300 is not going to stretch very far when it comes to some of the pencils and markers and things that the teachers require. And it just helps them from having to dip into their pocketbook all the time.
Right. Right.
So we're struggling with how to, we don't want to ever say no to someone who requests help from us, but it's to a point where we're now at that point where we have to stop serving at some point in time.
Yeah.
And remain consistent with what we have.
Yeah. Yeah. And just, I mean, I would just maybe an idea would just be to, touch base with Philip or touch base with Bob that's here that understands our mission partners, because there may be some areas of missions that may be able to help out in that. And so, and the reason I say Philip, especially if it's in a church membership situation, we do have, some limited benevolence that's available. But just kind of thinking through those things. That's what I say, if there is a mission partner that might be able to help out as well, that might be a great connection. And sometimes that may end up being the better way to maybe realign your focus as a group, is to say, the majority of what we're experiencing is similar to what this organization's already doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so your donation may be better served. It may serve more people by going to this organization that's a mission partner versus trying to meet every need that comes in individually. So that's just maybe an idea just to think through. I don't know if that helps or not.
Okay. And what's Bob's last name?
Landham, Landham.
Is he also the Robert that comes to Buchanan also?
No, it's different. Robert's he's our worship pastor. Bob is our missions pastor here.
Okay.
Yeah, great.
Thanks.
Any other, issues or any other main, questions that maybe you have about something, anything that's coming up? All right. Well, here's what I want to just finish off with too. I just want to show y'all a couple of quick things from our website because we have so much good stuff that's here on our website that can really just help you out as a group leader. And maybe even if you're having discussions and maybe you're pointing people to different things, you can help them along the way as well. So just to kind of go first to our groups, area. Just know whenever you're, coming through here, we have our, this is our main group's website. So whenever people are coming into the website, they're looking at, why we have groups. They're looking at how do I get into a group? And so we're trying to be crystal clear about how to get into groups. And so what they're able to do is they're able to, click onto one of these areas and that'll take them to the planning center, where people are able to look up all the different groups that we have available right now. So if you ever have somebody that says, hey, what are some of the other groups that we have offered? or what your group doesn't meet at the time that I can, what could be a great option for me? And then you can just send them right there to our adult groups area. They're able to look at that, check that out, and go on from there. And then, of course, where you come in, you go to resources. This is where probably we spend a lot of time, is under our group resources page. And just to kind of walk through a couple quick things, for people that are doing the sermon series guide, we have our sermon series out here. You can see there's the video, the notes, the leader guide, the participant guides that we have available for you. We usually try to put like past sermons on there. Everybody knows, and I hope you know that, you're able to contact David about borrowing curriculum, using any of our curriculum that we have. Right Now Media is there for us as well. We want you to use that Right Now Media as much as possible. You can see we have tips and tools. We have our leader guide on there. So, kind of looking at some of the why, the what stuff, what are some of the basics that we do. You can go to that. We even have on here, I don't know if y'all know this, we have some group training videos. And so that'll take you to our Right Now Media site. And where you go to that Right Now Media site, it opens up just a menu of different videos that are available for you. And I try to add to that channel different things about how do I deal with somebody that's causing conflict within my group. How can I build discussion within our groups? There's a great video that's out there right now that shows how, people learn by doing. In fact, 70% of learning happens by doing. And so you think about answering a question, looking, responding, all of those things. Those are ways that people are going to learn more than them just sitting there hearing us. So there's a certain amount of retention that happens whenever we're sitting there, we're hearing, yes. And I think we got to hear the content. We definitely do. But learning also becomes reflective, and then it becomes practice. And so it moves head, heart, and hands, and so that doing part is whenever people really get to learning, they really get into applying God's word. So once again, you could go to our group resources. There's some training videos. I've got just some training videos for y'all individually there, just talking about what it looks like within our context. But then there's a load of other videos that are out there for you. Of course, you can see we have service opportunities, upcoming events, child care resources. They're available. And I just want to show you real quick as well. Of course, the group leader toolbox, that's the way you take your attendance. So we're always, wanting to make sure we have that. But then we also have your Find Your Next Study here. And what we did, I hope this will come up. There we go. So this is on our website. And what we tried to do was we tried to give you a certain level, here's the levels of studies, 100, 200, 300, 400. And then we tried to give the different topics that are there for you as well. So if you're wanting to do a study of Christology, if you're wanting to do spiritual practices, and then you'll see these little things here on the side. Those tell you if that's something that's on Right Now Media, if it's on Lifeway, if it's on Christian Book Distributors. Some of those things are already in our library. So if you ever kind of say, you know what, I would love to walk for a year with our group and kind of go ahead and set out a course of what that's going to look like. Guys, you can come right here and you can literally plot out an entire year's worth of content. And it can stay within a theme. And so what it may be is you kind of look at your group and you say, you look at your group and you say, man, we really need to go through a marriage, type of study. So you could come down here and you say, well, all right, for a whole year, I can plan out, 5 love languages. And then I could look at one of these right here of, maybe I Promise by Gary Smalley. Then you walk on to Song of Solomon by Tommy Nelson, and then You and Me Forever. So you can see these are just, as they come along, they are there to help you grow and help you help your group to grow depending on where they are and what they, where they're at. So does that make sense? Does everybody kind of see how that flows?
It's a lot better than having to go into the library itself and go through books.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And so we put it there for you just to help you have that ability to do that. But it's right there on that find your next study here. And so whenever you're going and you're doing that, you can easily go and connect into that. And then, of course, we have our Wednesday night stuff. And then the last thing that I want to point out to you is about our I'm New page. Y'all may have people that are in your group. Ms. Carol, you were talking about having, people that are coming at, different times all the time, whatever that is. One of the things that we tried to really put here at the forefront is about explore. So we're really finding, guys, that anybody that's a guest within our area, that if we can get them connected to Explore, they really have a great way to just start assimilating within the church. One, they're going to hear the gospel, but the other thing is they're going to be challenged about getting into a group and then serving opportunities. And so you may have some people already in your group that maybe are guests, maybe they are, they just haven't maybe taken that step of membership, whatever that is. Encourage them to come to Explore, because whenever they come to this page, we put it here to just kind of give expectations. It introduces them to the staff that's here right now. And then it gives them a great chance. They can go ahead and they can register for Explore. So I encourage you, think through anybody right now that's in your groups that just needs to take that step. What a great first step, for them. And once again, as they come in and they assimilate, they feel like they belong even more. All they're going to do is just grow and become even better group members. And that's what we want to see happen as well. Well, listen, guys, I thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And I think this has been a great way to just, get here and just connect. And so I just want to say thank y'all again. Once again, we will take this. My intention is to post this on our Facebook site, on our leader group site. So that way you can come in and you can watch this again. Hear all these just awesome words of wisdom that are being shared, right? Yeah. But in case you just missed something, or maybe you want to direct some people in your group, other group leaders that you can direct them, to come and watch the video again. So outside of that, guys, thank you all so much. And let me just finish with a word of prayer, and then we'll go from there, okay? Lord, I just praise you. I thank you, God, for this day. I thank you so much for this time together. And I just ask, God, you just bless all of our groups, Lord. And whenever we're saying, God, that we ask you to bless our groups, we're asking, God, that you bless our group leaders and our group participants and those already, Lord, that, God, that are not in our groups, that you're preparing to come to our groups, that, Lord, we will be we'll be ready to make them feel welcome. And Lord, that we will just be a part of just living out the Great Commission. God, thank you again for this time, for this platform that, Lord, we even have to where we can experience this together. God, bless this. And Lord, just use us, God, to just be vessels of your grace, and God, to just honor and glorify you. We love you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, guys. Well, thank y'all so much. And we'll be talking to you soon, okay?
Thanks.
All right. All right. Bye-bye.